The Vanishing of Little Oliver Chapter 1. The Quiet Town. In the small town of Whitmore, life moved slowly. The streets were lined with cobblestone, and old lamp-posts cast a warm glow at night. Children played freely in the meadows, and neighbors knew each other by name. Little Oliver, a curious 7-year-old boy, lived with his mother, Clara, and his father, Thomas. Oliver had bright green eyes and a mischievous smile that could light up any room. He loved exploring the woods behind his house, imagining himself as a great adventurer. But on one chilly autumn evening, something strange happened that would change everything. Oliver had been playing near the edge of the forest. He had wandered farther than usual, chasing a bright red squirrel. The sun was setting, casting long shadows between the trees. When he finally looked around, he realized he could no longer see the familiar path home. Panic started to rise in his chest as he called out, "Mom, Dad!" Only the wind answered, whispering through the leaves. And then, without warning, a thick fog rolled in, swallowing the trees and the path behind him. Oliver took a cautious step forward. The fog seemed alive, moving with a strange rhythm. He heard a faint giggle echoing through the mist, though no one else was around. The trees looked taller, darker, as if they were watching him. Suddenly, a shadow darted across the path, and Oliver froze. It was small, but oddly familiar. Then it vanished. By the time Clara realized Oliver had not returned home, night had fallen. The town's quiet streets felt eerie under the cold moonlight. Clara knocked on neighbors' doors, her voice trembling. Thomas rushed home from work, worry etched on his face. Together they searched the woods with flashlights, calling Oliver's name, but the forest seemed endless, and the fog had not lifted. Chapter 2. The First Clues. The next morning, the town gathered at the edge of the forest. Sheriff Reynolds, a tall man with a graying mustache, organized a search party. Children whispered among themselves, afraid of the mysterious disappearance. Oliver's favorite red scarf was found tangled in a bush. Nearby, a trail of small footprints led deeper into the woods, but the footprints seemed to disappear as suddenly as they had appeared. It was as if Oliver had vanished into thin air. Clara clutched the scarf, tears streaming down her face. Thomas pounded his fists on the ground, cursing himself for letting Oliver wander alone. The sheriff examined the area carefully, his brow furrowed. "There's something strange here," he muttered. "None of these tracks match any animal I know, and the fog, it's unnatural." A local boy spoke up. "I saw lights in the forest last night, tiny lights floating in the air." Everyone fell silent, staring at him. No one knew if it was a trick of the mind or something more sinister. That night, Clara dreamed of Oliver. He was standing in a clearing, surrounded by shadows. A voice whispered, "Follow the light, Mother, find me." She woke up gasping, convinced that her son was still alive. Determined, she approached the sheriff the next morning. "We have to search again, deeper this time," she pleaded. Reynolds hesitated, but seeing the desperation in her eyes, he agreed. Chapter 3. Into the forest. The search party ventured deeper into the forest than ever before. The fog had thickened, wrapping around the trees like a living curtain. Old symbols were etched into the bark of ancient oaks. Oliver's footprints reappeared sporadically, glowing faintly in the mist. The children's giggles from the previous night seemed to echo in the distance. Thomas held Clara's hand tightly, unwilling to let go. Every sound, every movement heightened the tension. Suddenly, the trail ended at a small, hidden pond. The water shimmered unnaturally, reflecting the moonlight in strange patterns. A soft humming filled the air, melodic but unsettling. Oliver's voice called out faintly from across the pond. "Mom, Dad!" They ran to the water's edge, but the pond was empty. Then, ripples formed on the surface, revealing a glowing path beneath the water. It twisted like a ribbon, leading into darkness. Without thinking, Oliver's parents stepped onto the glowing path. It felt solid, yet strange, almost like walking on air. The forest around them seemed to shift, trees bending and twisting as if alive. Clara whispered, "We'll find him together." The path led them to a clearing, where a small figure stood under an ancient tree. It was a lever, unharmed, but different. Chapter 4. The Otherworld. Oliver's eyes glowed faintly, matching the strange symbols on the trees. A figure appeared from the shadows, tall and cloaked in darkness. "Welcome, humans," it said, voice echoing like a thousand whispers. "A lever has been chosen, a key to another world." Thomas stepped forward, protective. "Take him back, now." The figure raised a hand, and the air shimmered. Clara remembered the dream, the whisper about the light. She grabbed a small crystal from her pocket, a gift from Oliver, holding it high. The crystal emitted a brilliant beam, cutting through the darkness. The shadow recoiled, shrieking in silence. Oliver blinked, his normal green eyes returning. The forest seemed to breathe again, returning to its natural state. The glowing path vanished, leaving only the soft moonlight. Sheriff Reynolds, who had followed quietly, looked stunned. Is he okay?" he asked. Oliver ran into his mother's arms, hugging her tightly. "I knew you'd find me," he whispered. Chapter 5. The return. Back in Whitmore, life slowly returned to normal. Oliver's disappearance became a whispered legend among the townsfolk. The symbols in the forest faded with time, leaving no trace. Clara and Thomas never let Oliver wander alone again. But sometimes, late at night, they would hear a soft giggle in the distance. Oliver would smile knowingly, eyes glinting with secrets only he understood. He had been touched by another world, and though he returned, a part of him remained in the shadows. The town learned to respect the forest, wary of its mysteries. Children still played near the edge, but never alone. Clara kept the crystal close, a reminder that love and courage could bridge worlds. Thomas repaired the house, but also kept a lantern ready by the door at all times. And Oliver, he grew curious as ever, but always careful. He never forgot the fog, the shadows, or the glowing path that had carried him away. Sometimes, when the moon was full, he would whisper, "I'll see you again." And though no one else heard, the forest seemed to listen. The end.